Hello and welcome to Friday's Masterclass edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I did a video that the channel was originally designed to do every day. This is the video each week where I attempt to solve the Times cryptic crossword, and I will talk you through all the sort of thoughts that go through my head for the clues. Now, the reason we do Friday's puzzle is it's typically the hardest of the week. I did check the snitch rating first thing this morning, and it certainly is much harder than average. Let's have a quick look at the stats though. Wow. Okay, so the first four people there are all typists, people who've been shown statistically to be typists. Their times do not vary according to the difficulty of the puzzle. So the first real time there is John McCabe there, Moan, with 6 minutes 30. Now, believe it or not, and this is sometimes hard to believe, but there are so many incredible solvers out there. 6 minutes 30, I would say, is 2 minutes slower than John's average time. Matthew Marcus is there next at number 6. That's a real time. Matthew won the Times Crossword Championship the year before last. Absolutely superb solver. So is Jason James. So everything after that is real. But you can see you can get into the top, well, almost the top 10, and certainly the top 10 without the typists, with a time of about 10 minutes on this puzzle. So it's going to be a workout. Now, have I got my dictionary? Oh, I have, but it's in totally the wrong place. Let me move the dictionary over there. I will use the dictionary just to illustrate things. I'm not going to use it to solve the puzzle. Well, hopefully not anyway. And now I've got some other things I wanted to mention actually before we kick off and do some solving today. I'm going to mention first that we have a Patreon associated with the channel. This is where you can pay a couple of bucks a month to get all our extra content. And Mark this morning has released his solve of the Times Club Monthly Special. Now, can I find the club? Is that specialist? I don't know. It's the Times Club Monthly Special. I don't actually know where it is. I don't tend to do it every month because it's an absolutely oh, there it is. Let's have a quick. I'll open it so we can see it, and you'll get an idea of what's involved. This puzzle is brutal. The vocabulary is brutal. The clues are brutal. And it will it explores the parts of the dictionary that the normal Times puzzle doesn't tend to use. And Mark attempts this without a dictionary. It is a very, very interesting thing to watch, even for somebody, I would say, who is quite experienced with cryptic puzzles. Watching Mark tackle that puzzle is genuinely entertaining. So have a look at that. I wouldn't look at that if you're a total newbie, because you'll just think you're watching. Well, maybe do watch it. You'd think you were watching sorcery, but if you do have a bit of interest in and a bit of knowledge about how cryptic clues work, do have a look at it, definitely. Now the next thing, and this is something I was remiss on last week, I'm so sorry, but I want to congratulate two of our viewers on their engagement. So Jessica and Victoria, you got engaged, I think, last Thursday. So I would have been in time if I'd done it in last Friday's video. And then somehow my diary got messed up and I didn't do it. But I think you were on a ski trip together in the Rockies. I'm very jealous about that, actually. I'm a big fan of skiing in the Rocky Mountains. Yeah, the two of you got engaged. So many, many congratulations. Tori, your email described Jessica as the smartest and funniest girl she's ever met, and apparently when you watch these crossword videos together, Jessica leaves her marvelling at Jessica's brilliance and giggling at her sense of humour. So it was a very nice email to get, and I wish the two of you all the best. I think you're planning to live together in the UK, although I don't think you're both in the UK at the moment. So I wish you well with the move, and thank you for watching the channel. And the other thing, I've just received an email before I turned on the webcam. I don't know much about this, but apparently the independent crossword today is worth a look. So thank you to Charlie, who either constructs or compiles under the name of Methuselah, for that recommendation. I will try and have a look at the Independent later on, but probably not in this video. Anyway, with that said and done, let's have a look at the Times Cryptic. And I will talk you through things as I see them. So let's go one across. One replacing heads in hierarchy, drastically scaled back. I haven't got a clue what that's talking about. No, I really haven't. Once I get to a clue that I can sort of see how it works, we'll talk about the structure of cryptic clues generally. But I'm not going to start there because I really haven't got a clue what that's talking about. 4 across. Hurts hip, making contact with panels. Okay, I don't know what this one is either, but let's stop and think about how the clues work. The first thing, I'm going to give you a few tips. First tip, ignore the surface reading of the clue. Do not read this clue and think it's about somebody who hurts their hip because they've bumped it on a panel. It won't help you. That is not how the clues work. Every single one of these clues contains a straightforward definition of the answer. So into this 8-letter entry, it might be a word that means hurts, or it might mean panels. It almost always means either the word or phrase at the start of the clue or at the end of the clue. So if you just go with that and try and do the puzzle, you might get somewhere. What's the rest of the clue then? If there's one bit that's the straightforward definition, the rest of it is wordplay. That's sort of, it's taking like atoms make up molecules. It's specifying the atoms, and it's a recipe telling you how to combine those atoms to make the word, to make the answer. So 4 across, hurts. Well, let's imagine this was a word that means hurts. Hip. What could hip mean? If something's hip, it's in, isn't it? It's popular. So I'm wondering if this might be in, making contact with. Can we think of any words that mean making contact with? Maybe the word on. The other thing is, though, making contact with could be doing the duty of a plus sign. Imagine that the clue was an equation. So hurts equals a word meaning hip plus a word meaning panels. That would be a possible way to read this clue. So hurts in pinges or something, or impinges, in panels. What are panels? Can I think of any word? Panels are like juries. Injuries! I've done it! That, you see, okay. I mean, and that is exactly why these clues are brilliant. Because there was no part of my mind when I thought of panels that thought, when I thought of juries that made me think, oh, that's the answer, until I said it. I hadn't appreciated that the word injuries was made up of in plus juries. But obviously the constructor of the puzzle had. And okay, so that's right. So we've got in plus juries making contact. So the word in is making contact. It's touching it. But the N and the J touch, so that's why hip is making contact with panels, juries, and that is right. Okay, and look at that. There is a J already in this crossword, and we talked about this. Was it last week? If you get weird letters in a puzzle, it's quite often because the constructor wants to achieve a pangram, i.e., to use every letter of the alphabet in the puzzle. That is something constructors, they take pride in. It's quite difficult to do. It's certainly difficult to do using decent words. So let's be on the lookout today for Q's and Z's, and we've got to look at 5 down because a J at the start is huge. So judge I deceived, lives close to devout religious campaigner. Okay, I haven't quite got this yet, but I'm close to getting it. So again, let's go through the rules that we learnt from looking at this one. This is an 8-letter word. It could be an 8-letter name of a judge. Now, if it is an 8-letter word for a judge, it's probably going to be a biblical judge. So my brain would be going to, and now I'm going to show my deep deep biblical ignorance, my brain would be going to things like Jeremiah. I don't know whether Jeremiah was a judge in the Bible, but he might have been. So that's the sort of thing I would be thinking about. I don't think that's going to be relevant here, actually. Let's look at the other side of the clue. Campaigner or religious campaigner. Well, I think that might be the definition we're looking for here. And the only reason I say that is that I am able to read the rest of the clue as a recipe. How? Well, I know that judge can be abbreviated to J. I say this every week, it bears repetition. Some people think that you can abbreviate any word in a cryptic clue to its initial. You absolutely can't. So look at 6 down, blame, papers, express particularly. You can't abbreviate that word blame to B. And that's because if we go to the dictionary and look under the letter B, nowhere will we find the word blame. There's loads of abbreviations that we'll find, lots and lots of them, but we will not find the word blame. Whereas if we go to J, we will absolutely find judge. And that is why this word judge here could be indicating this initial here, this J. Now, I, deceived. You can just sometimes write I. That might be what that's doing there. Lives close to devout. I'm going to read that slightly differently. Lives close to devout. What is the close of the word devout? What is its closing letter? Well, it's T, isn't it? Oh, I've got it now. I've got the whole answer. Okay, so I think that's going to go there. If something lives, it is. So we're looking for something here that would fit, that is a religious campaigner. And I was thinking of lie for deceived, but I think had is what it is. If you have somebody, you deceive them, you con them, don't you? So in the past tense, had. And that gives us jihadist, and a jihadist is a religious campaigner. So judge, I, deceived, is, T. Jihadist. It's very nicely worded, and well, let's keep using the first letters that we've got. 4 down. Hype up, travelling by plane, involving great speed. Hype up, travelling by plane, involving great speed. I don't know what this is. Oh. No, I still haven't got it. I have got it. Okay. All right, I will explain how my brain went about this one. So, again, I'm not sure initially what the definition is. Is it hype up or is it great speed? But the key here is the phrase involving great speed, because imagine this was a recipe. Involving great speed seems to say involve or inject. Oh, I've said the answer. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But that's so. But that's what involving is telling you. It's saying put an abbreviation for great speed into something else. Involve it in it. And great speed. Well, the greatest speed there is the speed of light. And scientifically, that's often abbreviated to c. E equals mc squared. The c there is the speed of light squared. So, if you're travelling by plane, you are in a jet. So you put the c in the phrase in jet, and you get inject. And if you hype up something, you inject vim into it. Another J. That's got to be John then, does it? Should we have a quick look at 8 across? Song, opener, recalled in study, lavatory and shed. Oh, bobbins. I mean, I know I'm going to... Well, I don't know I'm going to know this song, but I bet you I'm pretty sure I will. John... John Brown's body lies a moulding in the grave is all that I can think of. But a John is a lavatory, isn't it? It's a euphemism for a lavatory. So I think lavatory here is John. So okay, well let's assume that's true. So if this lavatory here, if John is the lavatory, that would suggest that we are looking for the name of a song. Opener recalled in study, lavatory and shed. So maybe a word for shed at the end. Hut. Opener recall. Key is an opener, something that opens. In study. A study is a den. Study, there are other short synonyms for study. If you con something, you study it, that is a real crossword word. Let's look at that, because it does come up from time to time. Here, con 3, to study carefully. I don't know. Let's see if we can get 6 down. Blame. Oh, okay. Blame papers express particularly. It's a very cleverly worded clue, although it might not make sense if you're watching this from the US and you aren't familiar that there is a newspaper called the Daily Express here in the UK. So I think the clue is trying to suggest that somebody is blaming the newspapers for something, especially the Daily Express. But that's not what's going on. So again, let's try and... Sometimes it can be difficult, even with clues like this one, to work out which side of the clue is the definition. In fact, if I hadn't got this R, I might have thought that the definition was likely to be blame. But it's not actually. It's express particularly ? So let's look at the rest of it. Can we think of any short synonyms for blame or papers? And if you blame somebody, the rap is the blame, and papers are your ID, your form of identification. So rap and ID gives rapid, and if you move in an express way, if you get an express train, it's a rapid train, isn't it? So the question mark here is indicating that this clue, express particularly, it's a bit of a pun, isn't it? If this was a quick crossword clue, and the clue was just express particularly, you wouldn't think rapid, but it can define rapid. It's in a sort of punny way. Oh, John, I want to say John Peel now. Why am I thinking of Peel? John Peel was a DJ. Oh no, maybe this is why this puzzle's difficult, because nobody knows the name of this song. Let's look at 7 down. All the day before, Rosemary extremely on edge. Okay, I've got most of this. Now, the key to this one, frankly, is how you read it. All the day before, Rosemary extremely on edge. Yeah, okay. Let's cut it after the word all, which is hard to do sometimes in your brain, to force your brain not to read things as strings. But all, the day before. What's the day before something? What's the day before Christmas called? Christmas Eve. Rosemary extremely. Well, that's literally saying take the extreme letters from the word rosemary. R and Y. So it must begin every. On edge. Now this is a down clue. So this is probably, we're putting Eve RY on top of a 4-letter word which means edge. And the whole thing is going to mean all. Every which way. All. I don't know. I'm not actually sure. And what is going on here? Opener recalled. in study, lavatory, and shed. Okay, if you shed, you peel. So that is going to be. This is some weird thing. I mean, imagine this was a thing. Oh, actually, this is horrible because it's some Scottish song. That's my prediction. What I quite like. I don't think it is this, but let me explain. It's probably Dane. Oh, it can't be Dane. Oh, I don't know. Could it be? Do you ken John Peel? Ken is a Scottish word. Yeah, I bet it's this. Die ken John Peel. And the only way you could possibly get this, unless you are familiar with the song, which I am not, is using the wordplay. And this is why a cryptic crossword clue gives you 2 chances. And sometimes it's essential that it does. Because, I mean, imagine if this was a quick crossword clue and the clue was song. Okay, now if you do not know that, I'm assuming this is the answer, Die ken John Peel, there's no way you could get it. You wouldn't guess a Y there. But why do I think it's a Y? Well, because I'm using the wordplay. An opener to me is a key. That's something that opens something. It's recalled, so it's reversed. In, a word for study, a den is a study. A word for lavatory, a John is a word for a lavatory. And a word for shed, if you shed skin, you peel. So, do you ken John Peel? And the reason I like that more than other places we could reverse the word key in this string is that the word ken is a Scottish word. So I think it means do you know John Peel is how I think this is probably is. So I'm not going to change this, but I'm going to see. I don't think it'll be in the dictionary. Let's have a look. No, but maybe ken is in the dictionary as the Scottish word. There, ken 1, to know, chiefly Scottish. So maybe there is a song, do you ken John Peel? I presume it's not talking about the DJ. Should we try one down? Obscure end, e.g. Dina had. Okay. I haven't quite got this, but I think I'm going to get it. Hang on. I still haven't quite got it. Okay. Now, I said something earlier on, which is broadly true, which is that all of the clues... what I'm about to say is true. All of the clues do contain a definition of the answer. A straightforward definition. And I said that's almost always at the start or the end. That's also true, but there is a type of clue which is called an and-lit clue, in which the whole clue is the definition, and the whole clue is also the wordplay, which is sort of it's an amazing thing when you see a good and-lit. And I want us to read this clue as if it's all wordplay, and then we'll read it again as if it's actually defining this answer, because I think this is an example of an and-lit clue. Obscure end, e.g. Dina had. Now, what I notice about that is the word, if you obscure something, you make it opaque, don't you? And so that could be an anagram indicator. And end, e.g. Dina had is 12 letters. So that seems a very clear instruction to me to anagram end, e.g. Dina had. And I think for many people who are experienced at cryptic crosswords, this clue reads like it ought to involve an anagram. Why? Because it's weird, e.g. Dina. Where would you see e.g.? If you were reading a newspaper, would you ever see e.g. Dina? I mean, it's very hard to think of a sentence that would need that construction. So And that suggests that the compiler of this puzzle needed these very specific letters for some reason. And why would you need very specific letters? Because you're anagramming something. So, but if that's true, and if this is all going to be funny if this isn't an anagram, but if this is an anagram, what's the definition? Well, the whole thing has to be the definition as well. So obscure end, e.g. Dina had. Now, I was thinking it was going to end in, I thought it would be a word ending. But now I've realised if the clue contains end, it's unlikely the answer contains ending. Dina. Do I know any famous Dinas? Dina Carroll? Was that somebody? Why am I thinking dinosaurs as well? That's just wrong, isn't it? Dina and dino have very little in common. Okay, so if this is an anagram, what is it? What's the answer? So I thought... ending headed or something. No. Don't know now. I'm not actually... I can't see what the anagram is. I can see there is the possibility of ing in there. No. Okay. Bad, Simon. Naughty brain. Right, let's try 10 across. I'm wondering if this ends in ing, so maybe it begins with N. Did transport lobby finish off road? I mean, okay, I don't know what this is, but I love clues like this. Why do I say so quickly that I love clues like this? It's because I suspect... Oh, hang on, I might even have got it. I've got it, yeah. I've got the answer. I love the way that transport lobby is used in this clue. Because absolutely we can all imagine that there is a transport lobby. You know, some people either in Parliament or outside Parliament lobbying MPs about transport. So transport lobby feels like a very natural phrase, but the constructor has done that deliberately to fox us. Because actually what we have to do to solve this clue is to cut it between the word transport and the word lobby. So let's do that. Did transport lobby finish off road? Now, so this is a 9-letter word, which means did transport. How does the rest of it work? We need a word for lobby, and then we need a finish, the finish off the word road. What's the finish off the word road? It's the D, the last letter of the word road. It's that D there. So we need an 8-letter word, which means lobby. And the lobby of a house, for example, is its entrance. And that gives the word entranced or entranced. And if you transport somebody, you elate them. You give them a sense of euphoria. Let's look. That might be a bit of sort of crossword ease. To throw into an ecstasy. There we go. So entrancing would be to throw into an ecstasy. So did transport in the past tense is entranced, and very nice. I really like the wording of that. But hidden something, hidden agenda. Hidden agenda is what's going on there. Lovely. So obscure end, e.g. Dina had. I suppose Dina might be somebody who had a hidden agenda. In the school, an end there is being used as a sort of, your end is your intention, isn't it? If you have an obscure intention, you would have a hidden agenda. Now that ought to be useful. Let's go back to 1 across. 1 replacing heads in hierarchy, drastically scaled back. One replacing heads. I don't know. I don't quite understand that. I still haven't understood in this clue what the definition is. I think it might be drastically scaled back or scaled back. In which case it might end ed. But let's try 2 down. Was hanging out drawers at first on damp clothes line. That's brilliant. The wording is brilliant. Was hanging out drawers at first on damp clothes line. What is this? Was hanging out. Dwelt is what I want to say. This is. Oh, that is brilliant. That is brilliant. Oh my goodness me. Okay, I mean, this is genius. This is so beautifully worded, because here the trick. Where did we look at? We just looked at transport lobby, didn't we? Here, the thing you have to realise is that clothes line needs to be. I mean, this is sick. Right. So, was hanging out is the definition. And the answer, I'm going to tell you the answer. The answer is dwelt. Why? Well, let's go through it. Drawers at first. That's literally saying take the first letter of the word drawers. D. That goes on top of, well, this is a down clue. So the D goes on a word for damp. Or if something's damp, it's wet. And the wet is it clothes. If something clothes something, it surrounds it. It's on the outside of something, isn't it? Line. Now, line can be abbreviated to L. So let's have a look at that. No, it can be. I know it can be. Let's find it. Line, there. So damp clothes line. Damp clothes line is actually defining welt there, or giving you an instruction, a recipe in how to construct, how to give WELT. I love that. I think that is absolutely beautiful. Let's try 3 down. I thought this might begin with D. Unexpectedly, kiss lad near a girl. Yeah, this is fine. Right. The crucial thing about this one is unexpectedly. If letters are appearing in an unexpected way, they may be in a different order to the order they at first appeared to be in. So unexpectedly is one of these anagram indicators. And you may say, well, that's fine, but what am I anagramming? How do I get a 9-letter anagram from kiss lad near a girl? And the key is the word kiss, really. Can we think of a letter which would be an abbreviation for kiss? And I'm sure we've all written cards where we've put X's in them. So that kiss is an X. And once it's an X, lad near A is 8 more letters. So we need an anagram of X lad near A to give a girl, literally a girl's name. And I think we're looking for Alexandra. So, is this Hydra then? Oh, one replacing heads would be Hydra. Oh, it's a blooming hidden. Oh dear. Okay, very clever. I mean, the thing that's very clever about this is that because if you have a bit of experience in cryptic crosswords, when you see heads in, I'm immediately thinking take the first letters, take the head letters in the words that come after. So I was looking at this H as being the head in hierarchy, the D as being the head in drastically, and then I was thinking scaled back, how does it work? That's not correct at all. One replacing heads is the definition, and the Hydra was famous because when you cut the head off it, no, Hercules, wasn't it, who was given the task of killing the Hydra, I think, or Heracles, depending on whether you prefer that. Whenever you sliced the head off the Hydra, 2 heads appeared. So It was very difficult, so it replaced its heads. That why is that the answer? Well, inside the phrase hierarchy drastically, if you scale hierarchy drastically back, you might reduce some of it. So let's say we sort of squeeze it, we take out the the extraneous, the first letters and last letters. You can see hidden in the middle there, Hydra. It's literally spelt out as the answer, Hydra. And that is why it's correct. So let's have a look at 11 across. Work in kitchen. Okay, say no more. Now I think even if you've never done a cryptic crossword puzzle before, you might be able to get this one, especially looking at the letters we've got in the clue there. If you work in the kitchen and you don't wash up, you would dry up. And if you say no more, if you're on stage and you stop speaking, you would dry up. So it's a double definition. Right, let's go for that one then. 12 across. In disagreement when accepting Fleet Street offer. Yeah. Okay. This is another. This puzzle actually it's had 2 or 3 absolutely exceptional clues. This might be the best of them. This might be the best of them. Honestly, if you're new to cryptic crosswords, I honestly think when I explain this to you, you will. This is a sort of clue that could make somebody fall in love with a cryptic crossword, with the genius that these setters sometimes bring. And it's not even that difficult a clue to get the answer, especially given what we've got in the grid. But I'm guessing it is very difficult to explain the answer if you've never seen a cryptic crossword clue before. But when I do explain it, you're going to love it. So, look at the letters we've got here. Can we think of a phrase that means in disagreement? Well, I can. And it's if you're at odds with somebody, you're in disagreement, aren't you? Why is this the answer? Give yourself a moment. If you've never done it, if you don't know, if you're looking at this clue and you're thinking, I have no idea why it's at odds, pause the video and think about the principles that we've talked about. That there's always a recipe for the answer. And let me explain. Look at the word when. Can we think of any short synonyms for when? There is a very good short synonym, and it's the word as. So this word when is cluing this A and this S, because the word when is accepting, it's taking inside it, Fleet Street offer. And you may say, well, what's that got to do with TODD? Well, Sweeney Todd was a famous killer, a barber who used to kill people. and if you're an offer, as in to if you off somebody in gangster slang, what do you do to them? You kill them. So an offer is being used as a sort of as a synonym for a murderer. That's why it's a question mark there, because if we look in the dictionary under offer, it won't give that, but it could do. Somebody who offs, to off, will be there, probably as I think it's US slang. Let's look there, to kill, US slang. So somebody who does that, a sort of agent noun, would be an offer. And anyway, so that's why Fleet Street offer is referring to Sweeney Todd, the barber of Fleet Street, who used to off his clients. So at odds is, I mean, isn't that wonderful? I just think Fleet Street offer. How can that be a reference to Sweeney Todd and not to some newspaper offering money for a story or something? I don't know. Let's look at 14 across. Son in sports car calls for middle gear. It's another brilliant clue. I mean, it is a brilliant clue. I mean, I don't know what the answer is yet, but the way I read it is I know that son can be abbreviated to S. I often, sometimes I do wonder why. Why does the dictionary do that? And I imagine it's from genealogy and sort of family trees. I guess in a family tree, you know, you might use S dot to mean son of or something, because I know daughter can be D as well. So son can be S, perhaps this S. In sports car, calls for middle gear. So I don't know. I mean, I think this is a word for some sort of middle gear, but not middle gear as in the middle gear of a car. I think it's likely to be clothes that you wear around your middle. So gear as in clothing. Middle gear. My first thought was t-shirts, but it's not long enough. Sports car. Oh. Okay, I've got this one. This is middle gear. Is it really? I do sometimes wonder if any compilers might put in answers or clues that are difficult for me to explain in a family video. But anyway, this I now have got it. A sports car, a GT. Does that stand for Gran Turismo? I don't know, it might not. But a GT is a sports car, isn't it? And if you call somebody on the phone, what do? You ring them. So in this plural, that gives us G strings, the middle gear. Things that you wear around your middle, I suppose. Oh, so what's that one then? On edge. If you're on edge, you're snappy, I don't know, should we try 9 down? One used to stir, spoon or something, no, I don't know, from one's laptop so rarely. This is some sort of spoon, it's an anagram, I think. At least I think it is. One used to stir, I think is the definition. And from here, I think, is doing the duty of an equal sign. So if we try and read this as an equation, we've got sort of A, one used to stir, equals. And then we need a 12, rarely, I think, is an anagram indicator. We're going to lightly cook these letters. Laptop so is 8, so no, actually, so it is right, isn't it? One's laptop so. So what is it then? Something spoon. So what do we have? ES. Why can't I just see this? That's really annoying. No, I've got OES LAPT. Oh, is it an apostle spoon? Oh God, I mean, this is like one of those things that I think I've come across before, but only very vaguely. I mean, I think that is the right anagram, but I don't know what an apostle spoon is. Let's have a look. Apostle spoons. Silver spoons with handles ending in figures of the apostles, once a common baptismal present. Okay. Wow. An apostle spoon. Well, that's the answer. Now, should we try... Let's try this one. We should be able to get that. Extra something? 17 across. Special preserve of former prince in time married. I was thinking extra jam. It can't be extra jam, can it? I mean, the reason I like extra jam is I think it's got Raja in it. And that would be a sort of Eastern prince. I think it is extra jam. Ex Raja. M for married. I've never heard of extra jam. Like I've only vaguely heard of an apostle's spoon, but extra jam, and that's another J. I've got 3 J's now. I've got 2 X's. I've got 2 Y's. Double pangram. We haven't had any Q's though, have we? Or Z's. Wow. Okay, but why do I think this is extra jam? If a preserve, as in a marmalade, is a type of preserve, isn't it? At the breakfast table. So I think special preserve, let's assume there was a thing called extra jam. We'll look in the dictionary in a minute. Of, then, is doing the duty of the equal sign in this clue. There doesn't always have to be an equal sign equivalent in a clue, but there can be. So special preserve, made out of, former prince, ex-raja, R-A-J-A for the prince. Oh, no, okay. So the former is X, and then the prince, the Raja, is in time married. Now, time can be abbreviated to T, M can be abbreviated to married. So there's a few things we've got to look up. Let's actually just start with extra jam. Oh, there it is, extra marmalade as well. Under EU regulations, jam or marmalade containing a considerably higher percentage by weight of fruit than that in ordinary jam or marmalade. What? That is truly weird. Okay, so that is the definition of extra jam. Now, I'm sure most of you know the word Raja, but let's look it up. An Indian prince or king, so that's why we've got form. Well, that's why we've got prince. And time is from things like V equals U plus AT, Newton's laws of motion, married, M. That's probably from family trees again. But I mean, I will just show you. Let's look at M. It will be here. I have seen it before. Married. There we go. So extra jam. Now we could. Let's try 13 down. Alternatively, optionally, no. However, perform unknown numbers in straight line. Oh, there's a lot going on there. Alternatively could be or. OR. However, perform unknown numbers in straight line. I want this to be orthodoxy. Unknown numbers. I think it is something like orthodoxy, but I'm not sure about the Y at the end. Why do I think that? Well, it's purely from the wordplay, actually. So, alternatively, you might say or as a short synonym for that, mightn't you? However, well, in slang, that would be though, as in but. Perform, if you're on the stage and you perform something, you perform an act, you do it. Ortho. And now unknown. Oh, unknown numbers. Right. Okay, so it is XY. I was going to say an unknown. When we see unknown in a cryptic crossword clue, it very often is indicating a mathematical unknown, which typically would be X, Y, or Z. Or Z if you prefer. But unknown numbers is going to be X. We can have 2 of them, so X and Y. And then straight line, orthodoxy. It's brilliant. See the question mark at the end? Because again, if this was a quick crossword clue and you just saw straight line and the answer was orthodoxy, you'd be like, that's not fair. That's not really. But it is in a sort of punny way, isn't it? If you take the straight policy, the sort of the straightforward position on something, you would be taking the orthodox position. So straight line, orthodoxy, it is synonymous, it's just a bit different. Now, okay, so we get another X. So it seems like this constructor's put in loads of X's and loads of J's. Let's look at this one. 20, returned case carrying yellow flag. I want that to be droop. The reason for that is I'm cutting the clue after yellow, and I'm thinking of a short synonym for flag. And if you flag, you sort of tire, don't you? Droop. Returned case carrying yellow that. I'm just going to put, I haven't understood. Oh, or could be yellow. Yes, it is. Okay. I mean, this is, I mean, if you're new to cryptic puzzles, you're going to say this is outrageous, but it is justifiable. Returned case. Can we think of a short synonym for case? Well, looking at these letters, yes. A pod is a case, isn't it? P-O-D. And that's carrying yellow. And you might say, well, how is R-O or O-R yellow? Well, we see this sometimes in these videos. O-R is a heraldic tincture, which is gold or yellow. Let me show you. So there's the logic circuit. Here we go. Or in heraldry, the tincture, gold or yellow. I mean, it's so it comes up so often though. So what we've got here is pod carrying or, and it's the whole thing being returned, and it means flag as in droop. Let's try 21 down. After games. Okay, let's stop there. Can we think of any short synonyms beginning with P for games? What did we used to call games when we did it at school? It was called PE, wasn't it? So I'd be very surprised if this doesn't begin with PE. And then after PE, lay out English T. Oh. Yeah. Oh, it's a great clue again. After games, lay out English T. So if you lay somebody out in a fight, you would knock them out, KO them. English can be abbreviated to E, and Pico is a type of tea. So that is what's going on there. A scented black tea, indeed. Another strange old letter with a K. So we had 2 Ks at least. Now what's this one? Please don't let this be another of these Scottish songs. Drew pair of spectacles on bird. A crow. Does this begin with rook? Cock-a-doodle-doo? I really like that. Doodle, cock-a-doodle-doo must be right. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Cock-a-doodle-doo. There we go. Now, why? Oh. It's another brilliancy, this. It's another brilliancy. Because you have to cut the clue very precisely. So, something I talk about probably once a week in these videos that I think is really important to understanding the precision required in these clues is indefinite articles in the clue. So let's look at this clue. What on earth is this A doing in the clue? Because if I reread the clue without the A in it, drew pair of spectacles on bird, crow. How different a meaning does it have to drew pair of spectacles on bird, a crow? And the answer is almost no difference. I mean, you may say it feels a bit more, grammatically sound to put the A in, and it does a bit, but cryptic crossword writers, the best ones anyway, and if this is a times puzzle, you can assume it's going to be a very good clue writer, won't just throw in superfluous stuff willy-nilly. So this A here is there because it's part of the wordplay. It's that A. Why do I say that? Well, drew, doodled, pair of spectacles. It's like double O, as in that's what you draw, isn't it? A pair of spectacles would look like a double O. So drew pair of spectacles is doodled double O. On, next to, a bird is a cock, A, and that's that A. So that A is necessary for the wordplay. And then it's not a noun. This cock-a-doodle-doo is not a noun. It's saying to crow. To crow is to cock-a-doodle-doo, isn't it? It's to make the sound. Cock-a-doodle-doo. So A is also misleading. It's misleading us into think, oh, we're looking for the name of a bird. We're absolutely not. Unless we look in the dictionary and cock-a-doodle-doo is the name of a bird. But I think it's much more likely not to be. Cock-a-doodle-doo, there it is. Well, okay. It is also there as the noun. The crow. A cock-a-doodle-doo, I suppose. But I prefer it, thinking about making the sound, the cock-a-doodle-doo. But anyway, that is how the wordplay works, and that is why that A is necessary for the wordplay, or for the clue to work at all. If that A wasn't there, the clue would be wrong, actually wrong. That's important to realise. If that A is not in the clue, this clue is unsound. Now, let's try that one then. 25 across. Baskerville, hound, maybe, kind and brave. Baskerville, maybe, kind and brave. A kind is a type. Baskerville. Brave. If you're brave, you're sort of stout, you're heroic, you're type. I really like type for kind there. I don't know what that one is though. Maybe I should use, I'll go 15 down. I've got the starting letter. Men rising, presumably no longer, hold back in dance. Dance is such a difficult thing in cryptic crosswords because the number of obscure dances that exist, or I think they're obscure anyway, is, well, it's a prodigious number. Men rising, presumably no longer, hold back. Is it rebellers or something? No, no. Don't know. I'm not sure. I suspect this is going to be the name of a dance, actually. And I suspect Men Rising is saying, take a short synonym. Men is sort of often used as a euphemism for bits of the military. And there are so many short synonyms for bits of the military, one of which is OR, which I think stands for other ranks. So I think this might begin RO, Men Rising. It's a down clue, so then presumably no longer hold back. I've no idea what that's getting at, but the whole thing will be a name of a dance that I don't know, so yet. Let's try 18 across. What can be missed? Contained briefly here. One's light. What can be missed? Contained briefly here. One's light. Again, I've got no clue what that's getting at. Okay, we're going to have to just move swiftly on because I just have not got a Scooby-Doo what's going on there. Eccentric chap primarily. Inducing anxious state. Ooh. Eccentric. An eccentric chap. An eccentric is like a card. Somebody who's a card is like an eccentric weirdo. Chap primarily seems to me to just be saying take the primary letter of the word chap, which would be C. Inducing anxious state. Is it the name of a state? So it could be the net. I was thinking Colorado. That's not. It's not Colorado, but like, my brain is telling me that we need. No, I don't know what my brain's telling me half the time. Anyway, let's have a look at 19 down. Answer nothing in court. Cases around recess. Answer nothing in court. cases around recess. I don't know. I mean, alcove is what's coming into my brain here, because I know that's a 6-letter word for a recess. It also begins with A, and Q&A. You know, in a Q&A, that would be a question and answer. So answer is very much abbreviatable to A. Nothing in court cases around. Nothing in court. Okay, on a tennis court, and a score of nothing is a score of love. Good grief. Answer nothing in court cases around recess. Answer nothing in court cases around. Yeah, it's really cleverly worded again. There's a lot going on in this, but I have now understood it. So, answer is A. Nothing in court is love. That cases, the word love includes within it an abbreviation for around. Now, C it's not just the speed of light. C can be circa, which is Latin for around or approximately, isn't it? The CA, by the way, is also a valid abbreviation for that. But so that is what the C is doing. Let's in fact just check that. But it will be there. Not sure exactly where it will be. There, circa, about, which sort of means around, doesn't it? So I think that's what it's doing. And then a recess is an alcove. Right, let's try for 22 across. Levels of nonsense, drop off, alas, only at the end. Levels of nonsense. That's probably what you've all experienced over the last hour. Many levels of nonsense. Drop off, alas. Drop off is sleep, nap. Alas, only at the end. Levels. I want this to be... I was thinking nonsense. Bull, B-U-L-L. Drop off. Levels. Levels are like stories, S-T-O-R-I-E-S, aren't they? Levels. Don't know. Let's try 23 down. Priest having a party in the middle of Blitzkrieg. Yes, I know what this one is. Wow. Okay. So, I mean, the whole key to solving this is to interpret the middle of Blitzkrieg correctly. And you can see that Blitzkrieg has the middle letters of Blitzkrieg are Z and K. So if we were to put something in the middle of Z and K, you may know some priests, and I think it's Zadok, having a party. A and a do is a party. Zadok the priest. I'm pretty sure that's a piece of music. That brings Z into the equation here. Bulldozes. Levels, not stories. If you level something, you raise it to the ground. You bulldoze it. Bull is nonsense. It has an expansion that you're probably all familiar with. To doze is to drop off. And then alas, only at the end is saying, look at the word alas and only take the end letter of the word alas, and that is S. So bulldozes goes in. Now, let's go back to that one then. Have a quick... It's good... Oh, Cambodia is a state. Why? Eccentric chap. I love the idea of it being Cambodia. Let's put that in. Eccentric chap. Cam, there is a meaning of cam that might be an eccentric chap, or an eccentric at least. Chap primarily inducing anxious. I don't know actually. Eccentric chap primarily inducing anxious. I don't know. I don't think it is Cambodia. Well, if it is, I haven't understood why, and that's always a worry. Okay, let's carry on with the others then, and then hopefully maybe my brain will tickle through and get that one. 26 across. I don't like that. About a remote place. Well, okay, if you said I don't like that, if you saw that in a comic, you might think of the word yuck. About, if something is about something, it's on the subject of it, and that gives Yukon, which is a remote place. So what is this? That roundelay or something? There is some weird word like that for a dance, isn't there? Roundelay, I think is how you spell it. Now, why? Men rising, OR rising, presumably no longer help to undelay. If you were delayed, you'd be held back. So to undelay would be to no longer hold back. And the word presumably there is fully recognising that if we look in the dictionary, there will not be a word undelay. But if there was, this is what it would mean. So it's sort of punning on that. And a roundelay, I don't know what type of dance it is. I only know the word from Crosswords. Roundelay, oh, yes, it is there. A song with a refrain, a dance in a ring. There we go. Let's go back to that one. Funnel? What can be missed? What can be missed? Contained briefly here. One's light. Tunnel? Light at the end of the tunnel? The light at the end of the tunnel is the light of an oncoming train. That's half man, half biscuit, isn't it? Oh, the wonderful half man, half biscuit. We both grew up in Eve, strange as it may seem. But if you're from Matlock Bath, you don't need Sylvia Plath. Not when you've got Mrs. Gibson's jam. Anyway, sorry. What can be missed? Contained briefly here, one's light. What can be missed? Contained briefly here, one's light. I mean, what is this getting at? If this was a pangram, we haven't had a Q. Could that be a Q? What can be missed? Contained briefly here, one's light. And I should be able to get this. I mean, we've virtually solved this. Rosemary extremely RY, on edge. And the whole thing, I think, means all. Every inch. Yes. If you edge along a shelf or a ledge, you would inch along it, wouldn't it? So to edge is to inch, and every inch is the whole of something. Bushel? A bushel. Don't hide your light under a bushel. That must be right. Well, I don't know why. What can be missed? Contained briefly here, one's light. Don't hide your light under it. Is some reference to not hiding your light under a bushel, isn't it? But I think there might be more going on. What can be missed? Contained briefly here. Sorry, and the reason I'm pausing is, and it's only that my spider sense, I'm pretty confident the answer is bushel. because I think that the whole thing is sort of defining that in a very cryptic way. But it's too unspecific for it to just be a cryptic definition. But it's not unspecific if there is wordplay going on that's also pointing at this word. So I think there will be a way of reading this that gives these letters. I just can't see what it is. What can be missed? Contained. Briefly. Here. One's light. I'm cross with myself because this constructor has already shown that they are very brilliant. So there's going to be some brilliant way of reading this. What can be missed? Contained briefly. What can be missed? What can be missed is contained briefly here. I'm not sure. I can't quite see how to read it, but I mean I really like the thing that the whole thing seems to define a bushel as somewhere that you would miss because you'd be hiding your light under it. It's some sort of subtraction, I think. I just can't see it. I'm cross with myself. I think that's going to be a brilliancy, and I just can't see it. Okay, let's go over here again then. Baskerville, maybe. Oh, typeface. Yes, I bet you it is a typeface. I don't know it's a typeface. But I can imagine that all typefaces have weird names, don't they? So a kind is a type of something, and if you're brave, you face up to something. Okay, so Cambodia still fits here. I don't understand that one either. It's not a pangram. There are no Qs. I don't think there was a Q. And there isn't going to be a Q in this answer. Eccentric chap. I think cam can mean eccentric. Chap primarily, inducing anxious. A bod is a chap. Okay, let's put Cambodia back in. Why? Chap. Primarily inducing anxious is saying take the primary letters of the word inducing and the word anxious, I and A. So cam, if cam means eccentric, we're there, because we've got cam for eccentric, bod for chap, and then IA being the primary letters of inducing and anxious, and that gives us Cambodia. I mean, that's very difficult, I will say that, because cam for eccentric is not really a very easily, it's not even there. I'm sure it does have that meaning. I'm sure my brain is awry. Does that mean eccentric? Oh, I'm really surprised actually. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe cam is wrong. Maybe there's another state that I'm not thinking of that isn't Cambodia. No, I don't believe it. Let's keep looking. I mean, if something is awry, is that awry might be eccentric? It sort of is, isn't it? Let's look under eccentric. Does it? Oh, it's from camshaft then, is it? A device for taking an alternating rectilinear motion from a revolving shaft. Isn't that like a camshaft? Oh, maybe that's why. That's why it's associated in my brain. I might be wrong, but maybe eccentric is not referring to weird or awry. Maybe it's like a piece of machinery. And chap for bod, I think that's very clear. Bod should be there. A person or a person's body. So I think Cambodia is right. The one I'm not sure about is bushel. I'll just give this one more second. So what can be missed? Contained briefly here. What can be missed? Oh, I'm so cross with myself. If this isn't bushel, then I will revisit the clue, but I think it is. Submit without leaderboard. It certainly wasn't racing, thank goodness. That's correct. Okay, that's just where the cursor was, this orange thing. So, I mean, that is a brilliant puzzle, full of so many incredible clues. Fleet Street offer for Todd is absolutely exceptional. The whole thing is a delight, actually. And the vocabulary is very lively. Ken John Peel, indeed. And cock-a-doodle-doo. There's loads of X's and Y's. It must be very close to being a pangram, because there is a Z as well. And I loved the whole thing. I'm just cross with myself because I can't explain 18 across to you. So I'll look out in the comments and somebody will no doubt be able to work it out. So if you are cross with me about that, then just check that out. Check out the comments, and I'm sure you'll find some elucidation. Anyway, I will have a quick go at the quick cryptic in order to show you that I'm hopefully not a complete imbecile. Let's go as quick as we can on this one. So, racecourse in Nova Scotia. I want that to be Ascot, and it is. Greek character with walking stick bends on track. That's a clever clue, I don't know it. Gathers outside elements supporting a religious service. A masses, I think. Play community shield match. I don't know. Part of transmission involved dare right. Third gear? Maybe. It might be an anagram, I think. Bearing skis awkwardly, affect air kiss. Cunningly escape publicity in the evening is to evade. Stanley Edwards disrupting Yankees holiday, St. Andrew's Day must be, I think. Tabloid reported outstanding insectivorous plant. Sundew or sundew could be one, I don't know. Play curtain raiser, that is what the community shield is. Scottish writer Barry, first to recommend best barrier something. Barrier cream? Cream is the best of something, isn't it? Let's try this. Money we raised for tree. Cashew. That's quite clever. Anger ire. That's easier. I can't type it. Intervals Haitian roughly demarcates arid expanse. Sahara something desert. It must be something. It must be something desert. Atacama, perhaps, is what it is. Probably. 7 down, European place of Eden. So what's this then? Chicane. Kai and Cane, very nice. Feel ill in middle of Biscay, unwilling to get material on board boat. No clue. Expert, one unknown in hospital section. Wizard is an expert. Popular Annual test I held in final month. Demotic, I want to say. That certainly, I think, is right. Success by European Commission using modern electric high-tech atque. Ship something. Material on board boat. Ship, oh, I don't know. That's so annoying. Most familiar end street. Most familiar closest. Oh, something cloth? What? Is it sailcloth, I suppose? That might be something that you need on board a ship. Set up computer. Live with device to transmit webcam, I think. American Shield's companion's pin, for example. Acronym. Perhaps envy, sin. Ah, not sun, sin. Round on Oasis. That's easier. Let's hope we're not going to get stuck working in Heart of Friary, somewhere in the Hebrides, Iona. And that's how to solve that one. Not a particularly quick time. There were loads of W's in that. Yeah, there are. Look, W's all around the middle. That's lovely. Oh, see, 13th out of 173. Terrible. Terrible. But that, I almost felt like there was something else going on there. I wonder whether there's more to that. Oh, let's have a look at the comments. One comment. Let's just have a quick look and see if we can see. Could the little ring of W's in the centre be considered an E? I think so. But look at these times. Look at these times. John McCabe, 1 minute 55. I was 4 minutes. I mean, I know I was slow, but I wasn't that bad, was I? Well, yes, I was. I was over 100% slower. Chloe Hutton, 2 minutes 03. I mean, I know John and Chloe are good typists, but, like, that wasn't the difference, was it? It was my own slow brain. So depressing. Honestly, it's so depressing. Look, okay, that's Mark. So that is the 13 times champion. 3 minutes 11. So, you know, I don't mind being a minute behind Mark or 50 seconds behind Mark, but I do find these other times Mark will object to being over a minute behind John. That's incredible. Wow. Anyway, there we go. If you enjoy these videos, please do drop a like and think about subscribing. It's free to subscribe to YouTube channels. Our statistics tell us that most people who watch the videos are not subscribed, and that's a shame, because I think the algorithm would learn about these clues and we would get to tell more people about the Fleet Street offer if we can get the algorithm to respect these videos a bit more. But thank you very much for watching. If you're still here, let us know in the comments how you're getting on with your cryptic solving, and we'll be back later, of course, with more editions of Cracking the Cryptic.